I think, as I already said, I can hardly believe that's a year under our belt since last we met like this. I was hoping this would be the real thing this year, but virtual it has to be again. And here we are. It's as if, in a sense, time has stood still. But it actually hasn't stood still. For so many of our young people, the implications of the global pandemic is hit hard. Unprecedented levels of loss, of trauma and change. And we know from what we've been told over this last year that so many have been left unable to get work, worried about where the next meal is coming from, overwhelmed by stress and bereavement, all while shut off from the rest of the world. And we've got to remember that while that's been a very significant blip in the lives of us adults, it has been even worse for our children. It's been a very significant proportion of their young lives. And I come today to say to you that I am absolutely thrilled at how much Children First has impacted on these lives. I'm proud of the contribution that's been made by so many people across this year as we've started to hold fast to our strategic focus on prevention, on protection, on recovery and on resilience. We've emerged through the trouble and the turbulence stronger than we've probably ever been, more creative. We've had to be more creative and made real progress towards achieving change for the better for our children and families. As you'll hear from Brian Davison, our Honorary Treasurer, later on this morning, I am pleased to report that the charity is in very good financial shape considering all these difficulties, and we've been able to do even more than we thought possible over this last year. And Mary will give you far more detail around that when she comes to report shortly. But what is it that's made us different and made us unique as a children's charity in Scotland? Well, it's what we've always talked about. We talked about it last year. I asked no forgiveness. We're talking about it again today. It's about the relationships that we put at the heart of all we do, about the quality of these relationships that allows us to reflect honestly and with a degree of authenticity about what we're doing well, but where we need to do better, where we need to improve. And one of these big improvements has to be what has really hit the world hard, the whole issue around racism, both personal and institutional. And we will do our very best to make sure that we eradicate that from this organisation. We do it because we know that strong, supportive, trusting relationships are what work best, that allows us to prevent and protect children from harm and keep them resilient. And these relationships go right across the whole organisation, with the children, with the families, with colleagues, with volunteers, with funders and supporters, with all the partners that have joined with us. That's what keeps us resilient, and that's what means we can make a really significant impact for the better in the lives of these children. And you'll read about that in the annual report. Please read it. Please get the detail. I think it was Graham Greene that said, there's a moment in childhood when the door opens and lets the future in. When you read some of the comments that are in that report, you will see exactly how the future has been let in for so many of our young people and so many of the families that are with us. And none of this could have happened without huge support. A lot of it just personal time, a lot of it with financial. And over the last several years now, we've been so grateful to the players of People's Postcode Lottery for their hugely generous support. But actually over this last couple of years in particular, they have helped us develop Scotland's first Barnahouse, the Child's House for Healing. It will ensure children and young people who have experienced crime get trauma-informed care, protection, justice and recovery. And it wouldn't be possible with that financial support from them. We've developed new partnerships right across the country to respond to these challenges of the last year. For example, in Aberdeen, where we've worked with the council, the health board, a number of local partners to set up a network of, well, it would be Fit Like wellbeing hubs. What a great name for a great concept. I'm very proud as well of the work that has been undertaken by Children First during the year to support the campaign for the incorporation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child into Scots law. I look forward to upholding these children's rights more and more right across the country, across all services and agencies, but especially across our own. And I have to mention Parent Line. Without it, we couldn't have done so much to support. And again, we've only been able to do that with the financial that we've had from so many different people, and including the People's Postcode Lottery again. But we're not here about looking just to the past. We do hope this year's going to be a better year in every regard, but we need to sustain what we've been doing. We need to sustain the recovery from the pandemic. We need new possibilities to develop, to make real transformational change for children and families and communities. We know these opportunities are opening up. We've learnt so much about what really matters to children and families over these last 18 months, and we want to make even more change to support them. We'll review in detail, as we do fairly regularly, our strategic priorities. And in the light of all that's happened in these last 2 years, and in the light of where we should be and where we could be, we will continue to hold to our purpose as a charity, to keep children safer, families stronger, and communities more resilient. I think it was David Beckham, I'm sure it was David Beckham, that said, sometimes you just need someone to believe in you. And we've seen that again and again. Children just saying to us, someone has believed in us, and what a difference it has made. But we actually can't make that difference without you believing in us and helping to support us on that journey. We need you. Please stay with us. Please help make it better for Scotland's children and their families.